for those that want to get their arms around international trade and truly understand the difficulties in Europe, you need to spend some time learning about Robert Mundell. He got the Nobel Prize in Economics a number of years ago for his theory of trilemmas. Trilemmas. It sounds complicated. It's not. It's pretty easy to explain. What Mundell showed was that every country or trading bloc like the euro wants to control their currency, they want to control their monetary policy, and they want to allow free flow of capital in and out of the country. What Mundell showed is that nobody ever gets all three. That at best you're going to get 2 out of 3. But if you get 2 out of 3, you're going to beat the pants off of folks that only get 1 out of 3 or they have none out of 3. So let's start off easy. In the United States, we certainly allow free flow of capital. We certainly control our monetary policy, but we don't control the dollar because it's too big. If we're not careful about our debt levels, it's going to bury the country. By contrast, look at China. They don't allow free flow of capital, so if they're not careful about assigning artificial values to their properties, they're going to create the mother of all asset bubbles. They certainly control their currency, they peg it, and they certainly control their monetary policy. So here's why I'm telling everybody all this story. You go to Europe, the only thing Europe has going is they allow free flow of capital. They can't control their monetary policy because you have the Germans that are rightfully phobic about inflation. You have the Southern Europeans, the Italians, the Greeks, the Spaniards that could care less. And in Europe, of course, they don't control the currency. The euro's too big, so the only thing they're doing is allowing free flow of capital. So what Mundell proved to the academic community and ultimately to the Nobel Committee is that the Euro bloc doesn't stand a chance against the Americans or the Chinese because they only get 1 out of 3. You have to have 2 out of 3 to compete. And so, folks, that's the long story short on why the Euro can't last. It can't last. It won't last. What we're all discussing is the nature and the character of and the timing of its demise. Short term, they got to find enough capital for their banks, and they got to prevent the runs on the banks and try to stem the tide of the flight of capital. That's pretty hard to do. Longer term, they have to agree just to disagree. The more affluent Northern European countries just can't tolerate the spending habits of the Southern Europeans. It's not a lot more difficult than that. And I've got to close this part by saying the rest of the world is doing an end run around Europe. You know, the World Bank estimates that there are 400 million people in the middle class worldwide. They think that number's going to triple between now and 2030. So we're in the process of creating 800 million new people to the middle class in the next 18 years. That's 4 times as large as the existing middle class in Europe. 4 times. So the rest of the world's saying, see you later. We're going to get on with it. And long-term big picture, nobody does consumerism better than the United States. And we get to serve the 800 million new middle-class citizens that they all want to look like us, dress like us, live like us, and that will suit us just fine. So I think it'll take a while before the crisis subsides in Europe. When it does, everybody will get back to the fundamentals of interest rates and earnings, and that's where the story looks pretty good.